Imagine this: you wake up, grab your phone, and start scrolling. A few minutes later, you're deep in a rabbit hole of videos, posts, and stories that feel oddly familiar, like they were made just for you. You don't question it. It's just how things are. But what if I told you that every tap, swipe, and notification is quietly rewiring your brain, shaping how you think, feel, and even remember? This isn't a dystopian fantasy. It's happening right now, as you read these words. And the consequences might be more profound than you realize. We live in a world where artificial intelligence isn't just a tool, it's a silent partner in our daily lives. From the moment we wake up to the moment we fall asleep, algorithms decide what we see, how we navigate, and even what we believe. But here's the twist: these systems aren't just changing the way we interact with technology. They're changing the way our brains work. And the most unsettling part? We're not even aware it's happening. Let's start with something familiar: social media. You've probably heard about echo chambers, those online spaces where everyone thinks the same way. But what most people don't realize is how these echo chambers aren't just trapping us in ideological bubbles. They're actually reshaping our neural pathways. Algorithms on platforms like Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram are designed to show you content that matches your existing preferences. If you like posts about climate change, for example, the algorithm will feed you more of them. But here's the catch: over time, this creates a feedback loop. The more you engage with similar ideas, the stronger your brain's connections to those beliefs become. Studies show that this reinforcement isn't just mental, it's physical. The brain starts to prioritize certain neural networks while ignoring others, making it harder to process conflicting information. And when you're constantly exposed to emotionally charged content, like outrage or humor, it rewires your brain to crave those intense reactions. That's why scrolling feels addictive. It's not just habit. It's biology. Now consider something as simple as navigation. GPS apps have made us all into global explorers, right? No more paper maps, no more getting lost. But here's what science reveals: when you rely on GPS instead of your own sense of direction, your hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for spatial memory, starts to shrink. A 2006 study in Nature found that London taxi drivers who memorized the city's intricate streets had larger hippocampi compared to those who used GPS. Fast forward to today, and the average person checks their phone 150 times a day, with 70% of those checks driven by app notifications. That means most of us aren't just losing our sense of direction, we're losing the ability to build mental maps. And it's not just navigation. When we outsource tasks like remembering phone numbers or solving problems to AI tools, our brains take the hint. A 2022 Stanford study showed that people using AI-powered search engines remembered 40% less information than those who wrote notes manually. It's called cognitive offloading, and it's turning our brains into outsourcing companies. We're not just forgetting. We're training ourselves to forget. But what about attention? Let's face it, modern life is a blur of distractions. You're halfway through an article when a notification dings. You check it, then another, then another. Before you know it, an hour has passed, and you can't remember a single thing you read. This isn't laziness. It's design. Algorithms are engineered to fragment our focus. Every post, every ad, every infinite scroll is a tiny trap meant to keep you engaged. And it's working. The average attention span has dropped from 12 seconds in 2000 to just 8 seconds today, less than that of a goldfish. But here's the real danger: when your brain constantly switches tasks, it weakens your ability to sustain focus on anything meaningful. Over time, this becomes a habit. A default. And for teens, the consequences are even starker. A Royal Society study found that teens spending more than 3 hours a day on social media are 60% more likely to report poor mental health, partly because algorithmic content cycles amplify stress, anxiety, and unrealistic expectations. It's not just about what they see. It's about how their brains learn to react to it. Here's where it gets even stranger: AI isn't just changing what we do. It's changing how we feel. Take Netflix's recommendation algorithm. It accounts for 80% of what people watch, subtly shaping cultural tastes and reducing exposure to diverse ideas. But beyond that, it's teaching us how to seek pleasure. The platform's Just Watch Next feature isn't just convenient, it's addictive. It's designed to trigger dopamine releases by keeping you in a state of anticipation. The same happens on Instagram, where the Explore feed acts like a digital slot machine, rewarding you with content that's visually stimulating or emotionally charged. Over time, this rewires your brain's reward system. You start craving the same highs, outrage, humor, validation, more intensely. And when those highs fade, you need more extreme content to feel the same way. It's a cycle that's not just about entertainment. It's about emotional regulation. And for young users, it's especially dangerous. That same Royal Society study linked algorithm-driven content to heightened anxiety in teens by amplifying appearance-related posts and social comparisons. In other words, AI isn't just reflecting society. It's shaping it. But perhaps the most unsettling part of all is what's happening inside our brains. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt, is a double-edged sword. When you learn a new skill, your brain forms new connections. But when you're constantly interacting with AI systems that do the thinking for you, those connections start to shift. A 2023 study found that people who regularly use AI assistants show reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for self-control and decision-making. This doesn't mean our brains are turning to mush. It means they're adapting to a world where AI handles the heavy lifting. And while that might feel efficient in the short term, it could weaken our ability to make complex decisions, solve problems, or even resist impulses. Imagine a future where critical thinking becomes a relic of the past, not because we lost it, but because we never had to use it. And let's not forget the biases. AI systems are only as fair as the data they're trained on. But here's the problem: most AI models are built on human-generated data, which means they inherit our prejudices. If an algorithm is trained on content that associates certain professions with specific genders, or certain ideas with specific political groups, it will start to reflect those biases in its recommendations. Over time, this can unconsciously shape users' perceptions, making it harder to see alternative viewpoints. For example, if an AI consistently shows you news stories that reinforce stereotypes about a particular group, your brain starts to accept those ideas as normal. This isn't just about misinformation. It's about the quiet erosion of empathy and open-mindedness. And when those biases go unnoticed, they become invisible forces in our thinking. So what's the takeaway here? It's not that AI is evil, or that we should abandon technology altogether. It's about understanding the invisible strings that pull at our cognition. Every time you open an app, you're not just using a tool, you're participating in an experiment. One that's rewriting the rules of how our brains function. And the most dangerous part? We're not the ones in control. We think we're choosing what to watch, what to believe, and how to navigate the world. But in reality, the algorithms are choosing for us. They're shaping our attention, our memories, our emotions, and even our sense of self. And the longer we let them, the harder it becomes to remember what it felt like to think for ourselves. The question isn't whether AI is changing our brains. It's how we respond to that change. Do we continue to let algorithms dictate our mental habits, or do we take a step back and reclaim our cognitive autonomy? The answer might determine not just how we live, but how we think, now and for generations to come. So the next time you pick up your phone, ask yourself, am I in control, or is the machine?